Welcome to Coffee and Real Estate. I am joined, get your coffee. I'm joined by Lauren Bernhard Staats, who runs our construction and design department. So can you just give us a little bit, like, what does that mean? What do you do? What's your role here at 6th Avenue?
Yeah, so I didn't start off that way. Recent change to be running the whole department. I started out as a project manager, but I have a lot of background in design. And so it just kind of felt intuitive as the role was kind of needed to be filled, to have me step into that and to lead our design department. So our floor plan, our drafters, our interior designers, and then also our construction project managers.
So one of the things I love about what you do, I love about you, I love like you in the seat and role, is I feel like it breaks some stereotypes.
Yeah.
To have and this maybe just sound bad, but to have a woman running a entire construction department of like multiple project managers.
Yeah.
So which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Can you give how did you get here? I mean, you're a construction boss.
Yeah.
You're a boss.
Yeah.
Give me your background context, how you got here in this seat, in this role.
Okay, so then this is my loaded question is, how far back do you want to go?
I mean, just
like professional career or just like
relevant.
So
I mean, if there was when I was 3, I was playing with Lincoln Logs.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, this is what I was asking if you know the whole story. Okay, so when I was, the shortest version of the story would be when I was born, I was adopted. A Gladney baby.
So we're going way back to birth.
We're going, that sounds like, how far back do you want to go? I'm adopted, and that comes back later, I promise. And so my parents, the ones that raised me, they are my parents. They are not creatives. They're in the medical field. And so, but they were always remodeling our house. I was working on it. And my parents were really inclusive of me in that process. And in fact, my mom wanted me to go to college to be an interior designer. And I was like, no, I want to go work at Gladney and change the world. And
the adoption agency.
The adoption agency, yep. But pretty soon I realized when I got to college, maybe I actually do want to do the interior design, but I didn't really know how to navigate that. And while I was in college, I actually reconnected with my biological family, and my biological mom is an interior designer. My biological father is a pool builder and kind of an investor.
So in the blood.
It's in my blood. So what I'm trying to tell you is my mom was right, and it's in my blood. So through reconnecting with them, it really inspired me to pursue that as a career and try it out. And so I completed my degree.
In interior design?
Nope. In social work, actually.
Going back to the
Gladney thing. And I can't tell you how impactful and relevant that is actually to what I do every day. So many of those skills they teach you with your degree in social work are actually the things we're doing every day. Solving problems in the community on a micro, meso, macro level, working with people, listening, so much problem solving skills, managing groups. Some of my leadership skills I feel came from learning from social work. Yeah. And just managing practicing group therapy. I had to do that. And I feel like that's what leading the team sometimes feels like. So super relevant, but I did immediately after graduating from college dive in and got a job for an interior design firm. And I was there for about 3.5 years. And then I transitioned to working for an investor. And I was there for a long time. And that's where I learned the construction piece. They hired me and a project manager at the same time. And he kind of disappeared. And I was kind of doing his role already. And so my employers, the investors said, you want to do his job? We'll teach you. And I said, yes.
Teach you how to
do construction
projects.
So all of a sudden I was doing all the design for all of our projects, and I was also GCing all of them, managing all of the subs.
And this investor is doing residential.
Mm-hmm. He would buy a suitcase full of money. We used to joke about it. Okay. And we would he'd go buy 10 houses at once, and we figured out what to do with them. So we would, at the bottom, we would Section 8, traditional rental, Airbnb, flip, or we would rip the house down and build 2, 3, 4. We'd replat it or do the architecture for it and design new houses to be built in instead in an urban setting.
And this is Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is all in Oklahoma.
So you're 20s?
Yep. I was 25.
20. So 25.
I already been working for the design firm for that 3.5, 4 years. And then I was 25 when I started working for them.
And you were doing the construction, doing the
All of a
design,
sudden, yep.
and also involved in some of the strategy of like, what should we do with.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
And doing all the design.
how many houses do you think you did in that time? Rough estimate.
120,
Oh my gosh.
maybe 120.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge difference. Like most interior designers haven't touched construction.
You know, most of the time, no. Like they're heavily involved with it. It's a huge portion of what a residential interior designer is doing, but they're not managing the subs. They're not managing the construction budget.
The budgets.
Mm-mm.
And
They're not.
wrangling the personalities.
No. They're not dealing with the
City.
Oh God, no. I sat down at the city, at the permit office. No, they're not doing any of that. Yep.
And you also have to understand, like, when you're working with an investor, it's like the bottom line matters.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know how to bid. Like, and so many contractors don't know how to bid. Also learning how to do that. So you get sort of this crash course in construction and design, and sort of this turnkey all aspects.
They really let me behind the veil, and small company, and I learned so much about what it takes, the lift it takes financially for them. I saw them scrambling behind the scenes, when we have a flip sitting on the market and it's not moving. Do we change it to a rental? Do we change it to an Airbnb? What are the advantages of a short-term hold versus a long-term hold?
Yeah.
Short-term rental versus long-term rental? Yeah, I got to be included in a lot of those discussions.
And I'm assuming you liked it.
I loved it. I love them. I miss them every day.
And how'd you so you're from Fort Worth, moved to Oklahoma for school and this job, and then came back to Fort Worth.
Yep.
What brought you back here?
This job. Yeah.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I was hoping to move back to Fort Worth. It was COVID. We didn't have any family in Oklahoma, and I wanted to come back here and be with my family. And
I didn't know that you came back for this job.
I was wanting to come back, and then this job appeared, and it kind of definitely instigated it.
Yeah, and you came on as a project manager.
As a construction project manager, yeah.
You were managing construction jobs. And I remember like you first showing up wearing like snakeskin high heels.
Yes.
Going to job site.
I have some back there on my
And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. I'm a tall girl, but I like to be tall. I like to have like a presence on site.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe one of the hardest projects you've done, like where stuff just went wrong, like a crazy situation?
Yeah, one of the hardest projects where something went wrong was actually here. We had some turnover with the project manager. We had just hired him, and then within 2 months he'd quit.
Oh gosh.
And it was wild. And he just had a better job opportunity, and we understood, but it did put some of our projects that we'd already kind of assigned him to in a lurch. At 2 months, like some of these projects he's on had just started and had months ahead of them. So I ended up stepping in and project managing those projects in his stead. Then there were so many issues, old houses, and behind the walls. So the walls were actually, none of them were lath and plaster. They were all what we call mortar and mesh, which is like, it's basically chicken wire and like concrete. Yeah. So demo was really hard, really dusty, really messy. Imagine like if all your walls are concrete. And then behind that, the original homeowner had done some really kooky things. The electrical wiring for a residential house was actually 3-phase, which is wild. And the wires were all in hard conduit behind the walls.
Oh, that's weird.
So weird. And so it took longer to solve that problem, like from a rough-end standpoint, and then it costs more, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Costs more nobody wants to demo out concrete walls. Yeah. Cutting drywall is real easy. Lath and plaster, no biggie, but
those are concrete.
Yeah.
And the electrical's in.
And then the electrical's in hard conduit.
That's so weird.
Yeah, behind the walls. Yeah, I think that the original homeowner, is like 1940s house. I think he just thought he was doing something innovative.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Favorite project?
My favorite project that I have ever worked on was, I would say there's two. One was back in Oklahoma City. It was the first time we tore a house down, and we built 4 on that lot.
Okay.
And so that's, I feel like, was this impactful, pivotal moment in my career where I was doing a really complicated, dense project from the ground up, really front end heavy as far as planning from an engineering standpoint, an architectural standpoint, from a financial standpoint, watching my investors like drum up the capital to do this project. And then also it was really towing the line as far as like the neighbors were upset. People didn't want us to densify the lot. And it was really inspiring to be a part of watching the dream of my employers and helping make that dream come true, toe the line of this is urban infill. Like,
how do we serve the neighbors in the neighborhood?
How do we serve this neighborhood, but also toe the line of progress? And so I thought that was just really impactful. And then also it was really hard. And that was the first time I ever did new construction. And new construction's easy when it's an acre lot, 5-acre lot out in Aledo or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you're building a bunch of the same floor plan. This was boutique. It was detailed and it was hard. And so it was a really good learning opportunity for me. And then with 6 Ave, my favorite project is one actually I did the interior design on. So I'm wearing lots of hats here. And so I actually got to do the interior design on a project that was a first floor remodel. And I think there is no white paint in the whole house.
Yeah, you like bold and dark and moody wallpaper,
colorful pattern. I'm not like a tonal texture girly. I think life's too short not to be colorful and different.
I showed up at the office yesterday.
Yeah.
And there was a green cowhide rug on the floor.
Exactly. Life's too short not to have.
Yeah, so this is a project you did all the crazy colors.
I actually did the design for it. And so I picked out all the crazy colors. We had a dream client for me that was like, yes, go off, like do what you want to do in here. And she never questioned my design once. She was on board for all of it, and definitely took like a special client to help see my vision. But she was down, and it's the coolest. I can't wait to take pictures of it.
That's fun. Day in the life. What does that look like?
A day in the life. So my role now is really front end heavy. So meeting potential new clients, walking potential new projects, helping do kind of like a prelim, pre-construction, pre-design, like helping them hold their hand, telling them what the process is going to look like, introducing them to our team. And then a lot of it is managing the team, but trusting the team to do their jobs.
Yeah.
They have all been doing their jobs for a very long time. They have a lot of experience. We're always learning new things, but it's a lot of trusting them and helping them and being there for them when they have problems, but allowing them to solve those problems themselves. And then, like managing our company budget, managing our, let me think, what else do I do? I do a lot. I feel like I do a lot.
So some in the computer.
Definitely some in the computer.
Some with clients, some with their team, some like, and if like, so someone calls like, hey, I'm interested in a construction job.
Yeah, that's
me. They're interacting with you.
They're interacting with me.
You're giving them like, here's the rough numbers.
Yep, rough numbers.
Detailed bid.
Yep, and then eventually I do their first iteration of their detailed bid. And then I typically at that point though, they do get kind of assigned a project manager, and then he steps in and then he's on site looking at what has actually been designed. By the time they get a detailed bid from us, they've actually usually got a floor plan in their hands, a really good design concept. And so we're able to more accurately price it at that point. And so I do that prelim bid off of those still concepts, but more concrete concepts. And then I help assign a project manager to the project.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And then so non-6th Avenue.
Yeah.
What does like fun, unwinding, like what are like LBs is what we call you, right?
Yeah, we're gonna call
hobbies, interests, non-real estate related.
I love to read fiction. I love to read fiction. I have a super awesome book club. I love to top 3 books ever.
Can you rattle that off real quick?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Can I? Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver.
Okay. Never heard of that.
Fairy Tale by Stephen King.
Okay.
And I just read one that was incredible called The Gray Shear, which is actually young adult, but it is kind of violent. And it's kind of like Handmaid's Tale meets Lord of the Flies.
Okay. Oh, y'all were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so reading, interrupt you there.
Yeah, reading. I love to exercise. So I love to do Pilates. I love to lift weights. I used to love to run. When I lived in Oklahoma, I would run the half marathon every year, but that is hard on a body. So taking a break from the running. And then I also am a mom. And so I think that I spend a ton of time just hanging out with my kids, my boys and my family. We do, now that it's summer, we're going to do a lot of swimming, work on swim lessons. And then in the evenings, it's just like, putzing around our driveway or the backyard. We go to the zoo all the time now the weather's nice. And so just kind of like really getting into all the things Fort Worth has to offer for young families, the kids museums. It's so much fun.
The zoo pass is so fun.
The zoo pass is great. We literally just like popped in for an hour on Saturday. Everybody else was leaving, gone. We go at like 5:30, just see the elephants for like an hour, do the Africa route, come back.
So reading, working out, and kiddos.
And kids.
That's a good kind of.
Yeah. I do truly love so many things.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine doing something else in another field. That's really hard for me to do. I love the creative opportunity of remodeling. I think it's like the perfect balance of, and new builds and, the boutique kind of project specific variation. I love the variation in all of our projects. Mm-hmm. I love the creativity in all of our projects, even if I'm not the one doing it so much anymore. I'm just watching it unfold.
Yeah.
Getting to skin it.
We do fun projects.
We do fun projects, and not a single one of them is the same.
Yeah.
We don't do anything, no specs. Everything is client funded. Every project has a different problem that needs to be solved. There is so much problem solving that goes into this, and it's never ending. And I like that to some extent. I think that I would be bored if it was just easy all the time.
Yeah.
Every day I say to myself, usually while I'm planking, I can do hard things. And so, we do a lot of hard things here. Yeah. We solve a lot of hard problems.
Yeah. So funny story.
Yeah.
It was like in COVID.
Yeah.
COVID was happening and It was crazy and it was hard. And I was working out. I have a little like playroom / workout room.
Yeah.
And I would like do push-ups and planks and literally say I can do hard things.
That's so funny
because I'm like I can get through this. I can totally, like, that moment like brought back this memory from 2020
like do hard things,
freaking out in life.
Yeah.
And like
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I picked up rollerblading.
Self-talk is important.
Self-talk is so important. Yeah.
You picked up rollerblading?
Rollerblading, yeah. I did. I rollerbladed on the inside of my house. I did it just the other day. Both boys were taking a nap and I was like, I'm going to break out my rollerblades.
What?
Yeah. And I rollerbladed up and down the driveway.
That is hilarious. Yeah. That's a good, fun fact. Okay. Final question. Why 6th Ave? Like what makes 6th Ave Homes unique, special? Why do you like working here?
Oh God. This is a loaded question.
Yeah. Affirm me.
Affirm you. Oh man, I mean, the environment that is curated here is more familial. It is not transactional. It is a team environment. It's more than a team environment. It is like transcended that. And so we show up for each other in ways that I have never heard anybody else I know at any other job have their coworkers show up for them and care for them interpersonally. The support that you get here to thrive personally and also professionally, it's definitely like a work hard, play hard kind of environment. Mm-hmm. It's not that we are working hard. Because of all the other wonderful, supportive, like enveloping the culture that's here, it makes me want to work harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like to work though. So.
I love that. Yeah. And you work hard.
I like to work.
So, and I will just say, one of you're unique in like, you are a leader. So you're leading and setting and dictating that culture a lot of ways. You're a big part of that. But I also think like one of the reasons, we have been as successful as we have been, why our construction and design is doing great work, is because of you. I think because you have this unique skill set of design, like having great taste, having knowing the ins and outs of that, but also knowing the ins and outs of construction. Because you have literally done more projects than most contractors have ever done, coupled with you're a great problem solver. And so I think all of those things, like you're kind of the backbone of what we're doing. And so if you're watching this and have thought about doing a construction project or remodel project, Lauren is your girl. She runs the show here. And so thanks for inviting us behind the curtain a little.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Enjoyed it. Cheers.